The U.S. Civil War tore the nation apart, a conflict rooted in the deep animosity that remained from the Treaty of New Echota and the subsequent assassinations. Existing divisions within the Cherokee Nation were further exploited by external forces. Principal Chief John Ross initially sought neutrality, but a deep rift formed with Stand Watie. The assassinations of his family members were a primary reason Watie, a Confederate sympathizer, believed the Cherokee should fully side with the South. He was commissioned as a brigadier general in the Confederate Army. Their personal and political conflict became a civil war within the nation itself, pitting family against family. The final devastating blow to their sovereignty came with the push for Oklahoma statehood in 1907. The U.S. government passed the Dawes Act and the Curtis Act, dissolving tribal land ownership, abolishing their government and courts, and dividing communal lands into individual allotments. These acts were part of a broader assimilation policy designed to break up Native American tribes by destroying their communal way of life and turning them into individual property owners. This broke up the traditional system of holding land in common and for the first time subjected those lands to taxation. While their governments were officially dismantled, the Cherokee people's identity and culture endured, eventually leading to a hard-won restoration of their self-governance in the modern era. The U.S. government had long sought to dismantle the Cherokee Nation, not just by seizing their land, but by dissolving their identity. The Dawes Act and the Curtis Act weren't merely about land ownership, they were instruments of cultural erasure. Their design was to break the bonds of community, force assimilation, and transform citizens of a sovereign nation into scattered American individuals with no collective power. For decades, it seemed their plan had worked. After 1907, with their government officially abolished and their communal lands parceled out, a different kind of war began. This was an unseen conflict, not fought with rifles or treaties, but in the hearts and minds of each new generation. The U.S. had built schools that punished children for speaking their native language, and had promoted a worldview where Cherokee identity was seen as a relic of the past, an obstacle to progress. Many, in a silent and painful act of survival, chose to hide their heritage, to let go of their language and traditions for the sake of an easier life. They simply blended into the American landscape. Today, this quiet drift continues, but it is compounded by a deeper, more historic division. The rifts that began with the removal treaties, between those who were forced to move and the old settlers, and between those who remained in the East and those who went West, never truly healed. The Cherokee people are not a single monolithic group. They are divided into three federally recognized sovereign nations: the Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma, the United Keetoowah Band of Cherokee Indians in Oklahoma, and the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians in North Carolina. For many, the connection to the Cherokee Nation is now a complex matter of allegiance, not just ancestry. The history of bitter political and cultural divisions has led to a landscape where the governments of these nations, while working for their own people, often find themselves in conflict. This ongoing division is often exploited by those who deny the Cherokee's sovereignty, claiming they are simply tribes and not nations with inherent rights and a distinct political identity. Amidst this, a new generation is falling into the very trap laid out a century ago. For some, the connection to any of the three nations is a name on a card, a distant story from a grandparent. They are not hostile to their heritage, but they are detached from it. The promise of the American lifestyle often feels more immediate and tangible than the responsibilities of tribal citizenship. They are not getting involved in tribal affairs, learning the language, or taking a proactive role in their own governments. This is the very end game that the U.S. government desired. Yet, this drift has also fueled a fierce determination in others. It has created a new generation of leaders who understand that the fight for sovereignty isn't over. It's not just about political recognition or economic enterprise. It's about a daily, tireless effort to keep the fire lit. These are the teachers fighting to keep the Cherokee language from dying out, the historians working to preserve the stories, and the citizens who show up to tribal meetings, demanding a voice. They know that if people don't get politically involved and proactive, they will be just a pawn on their game board.